The census number meant that probably 40% of the population of this country was killed. This has been happening in America as well, where I've heard that 40% of that country is down. Trump has got to go, and so do all the Republicans and everybody else who has been involved in the death camps and making that a reality. It's not just, it is the right wing, but it is also the people who are, basically I heard it's the Royals, but it's also definitely the 16 and other people that are involved in this. This was the absolutely most important thing to be talked about in this election, and basically what happened was, if you wanted to talk about it, they basically said you will not get on the TV to say absolutely anything, which was really, really bad. Basically, Pride Columbia had actually wanted to say a lot about it, as the Green Party had. The Liberal Democrats wanted to say quite a lot about it as well. It was the Labour Party which could have definitely said a lot more about it, and the Tories did not want to say anything about it at all. Basically, I believe more in the Green Party than anything else. They have been doing really well. I was just looking at how they basically won in Cambridge South. It was very obvious that they won in Cambridge South. It's a farming community. They basically went back to the idea of having an association and selling to the local community. So the local farmers actually sold to Cambridge Town. Because they sold to Cambridge Town, they were actually starting to get a third more on their produce. Now, for these reasons, it is obvious that, they would obviously vote for the Green Party than another party, because this makes more financial success. They have more money in the pocket, and the people of Cambridge have better food that comes from local stock. So it's basically living in the idea of being really, really sustainable, and sustainability is really, really important. I realised that actually I'm filming a wall, even though you can actually hear me. Sorry about that. I'll just turn this around. This is actually me. So basically that's really, really important. I have been told that the Green Party got at least between 30 and 60 candidates into the House of Commons, and that the 360 seats that the Tory party said they won, they didn't. They got less than 10 seats in the whole of the Westminster, and they just lied and took over. The reason why Boris Johnson went down really fast at 3 o'clock in the morning is because he wanted to do a coup d'etat like Bush did in 2001. Now, coup d'etats cannot be allowed to go on, so this will be stopped, and we will get to the bottom of it. I will be keeping you posted as and when things are happening. Alright, so I'll say ta-ta for now. But remember, the other parties did not get to have their say, because they wanted to say the concentration camps have to be closed, and they have to be closed now. Apart from that, the bankers are very, very unfair, and so are the Royals. From what I have heard, the Royals have been burning people for a very long time. And the bankers are just out to make, it's not just that they're just out to make a lot of money. They want to see people be really, really miserable. They turned around and say that they never have any money for the people. Well, the reality of the situation is, if they actually got the tax in, I know for a fact that they'd be at least 2 trillion up now. That 2 trillion up that they would actually pay, basically, for 60 million people, they could pay £1,000 per week out of that 2 trillion. And it is our money, and it is democracy, so it's about time that we actually got it. And if we actually had a citizen's income, It affects absolutely every area of society. It means that, we have social mobility, we have good transport, we have good health, we can go on holiday, we've got good cars, we have crime is negligible. There is no gun crime, there is hardly any violence at all in society. Everybody is basically middle class. We have no everybody's working class, but they are all on a good wage so that they can buy good food and they can actually have a good standard of living. We can get back to the idea, the 1950 standard of living, where actually everybody was able to save up for their house and actually have a car and have really good food and have their 2 weeks away in the sun every year. And that is really, really important. We need to actually recognise that we need to do at least 10 hours a week less working. Nobody should have to work more than 30 hours a week ever. All work should be around the family and the idea of the family. And in poor areas where people do not have enough money, then the schools should really step in and say, we will make sure that there is a dinner for every parent and carrot, that the parents and kids will be able to actually have their evening meals at school at like 6 o'clock maybe, and then that they have an hour before they go to bed. And that would be a much better way of doing it. They need to be more sports facilities near them, and they need to be able to do basically learning needs to be fun, needs to be creative, needs to be able to something that you can do more hands-on and people will find more interesting. Anyway, I will talk more about that at a later point, but for now I'll say ta-da.